is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Lolsuit, potentially Lawsuit, but mostly Lolsuit, courtesy of Denims, the live streamer, and I guess you could argue her son Orbiter to an extent, who as many of you will be aware featured in the recent iDubbbz Content Cop, a video which is majority now dislike. Even the content deputy, dear Guardian, know when to stop. There's a kid who's made a content cop on you and it's done better. Well, on ratio anyway. The views will get there eventually. The reason we're going to look at this is because Denims has an accusation and is trying to raise 150,000 US dollars, so about 20 UK pounds, to sue Ethan Klein for defamation. She's had 1.6k donations so far, totaling 43,695 US dollars, so about £3.50 because our currency's better. The description is brief, but there is a legal notice IMGA and a debunk on his CPS lies that leads to a YouTube link or video clip. We'll get to those in a minute. Ethan Klein lied about me supporting CPS coming to his home. If he doesn't retract, this GoFundMe is for legal fees to hold him responsible for his lies. If he retracts, this GoFundMe will be refunded. It is donation protected. So there's some integrity here, guys. Oh wow, I'm so excited. Many of the comments underneath, I'm not going to show them, support Palestine and anything to dunk on Ethan basically. That's fine because there is a line in the sand when it comes to many people that inhabit this wing of the internet. Now if we click the IMGA link, we get the full legal text. Subject:
Demand for public retraction of false publication.
Dear Mr. Klein, our law firm is legal counsel to social media commentator and content creator Denims. It has come to our attention that in response to an apparent CPS visit to your home, you published numerous false statements on your YouTube channels, stating either that Denims herself filed the preceding CPS report about you, result in improvident, sorry, I've never seen that word before, CPS visit to your home, or that Denims caused others to do so, among other things you stated, and there are some quotes here. Denims is participating in this CPS lie. Denims endorses this, Clearly, as you can see, she's not moderating this at all, and it's pretty much 100% of the comments saying, call CPS on them, their kids should be taken away. You repeatedly insinuated that Denims was responsible for the CPS call, labeling her the real villain of the video. You also stated she has been such a nasty, pathetic lying, just like such a horrible, disgusting person, because you believed she was behind the CPS call. In April, making reference to Denims, you said, terrorist sympathizers who support CPS coming and taking my children away. She's directly responsible for CPS coming to my house. She is directly linked to the CPS coming to the house. Doing what she did, being like, oh, let's call CPS, he's an ABUSER. He neglects his children, like we do, need to. We need to call CPS. Girl who accused me of leaving poop on the floor and that CPS should be called. She did, CPS remember that. Talking about your friends propagating CPS coming to my house to take my kids away. The final quote, again in reference to Denims, you said, you don't lie about people's kids and have CPS go to their house. These are just examples. As you know, there is no factual basis on which to accuse my client of being responsible directly or indirectly for the alleged CPS call to your home. Further, you knew your statements were false when you made them, rendering your defamation of my client malicious. I feel like we need to go through each of these quotes in turn, because some of these are speculative and not outright accusatory, but are being used to back up the outright accusatory later quotes. I'm being a little argumentative, but it's right to say the first two are not direct accusations. Some are pointing out that not moderating is a reference to one's chat, not being held accountable for the accusations they levy, but that's a streamer thing. It's a very hard thing to moderate fully. Continuing with this though. On March 7th, you appear to have publicly acknowledged CPS indicated to you that someone who works at your home, not Denims, called CPS and it relates to the events at issue. Okay. On March the 11th, you acknowledged Denims has denounced herself or anyone in her community making contact with CPS. Yet you have failed to publicly retract your false statements that my client acted to call CPS to visit your home. Your defamatory statements in reference to and about Denims constitutes libel. In particular, and then penal code, I'm going to continue because I don't care about the legal side of it, but it's just important to have those words there because they have to explain that crap. Notably, your false inflammatory accusations against Denims have resulted in gravely concerning and threatening communications from the public, including presumably loyal members of your audience. Presume, interesting. being directed towards my client. These communications have caused severe and sustained emotional damage. I've changed that because I think the Stephen Heath thing's funnier. Denims has been directly harmed in other ways as well, including substantial reputational damages and potentially financial harm to her business platforms. We request you immediately retract your false statements about Denims by publishing a correction statement, that you are not aware of any evidence that Denims was responsible for or otherwise participated in any CPS communications. I'm not going to bother reading the rest, but I'm surprised there isn't a number here. Oh, but the damages are worth this amount of money, guys. The fundraiser has raised a third-ish under of its intended goal. So it's done quite well so far, really, hasn't it? So what is the overarching perspective? Now, I should insert, yes, Denims has put out a video. The video has 3.6k up to 2k down, and the comments are heavily moderated in her favour. 100%. Denims believes, according to the description, that Ethan Klein is too afraid to watch this video. I should point out, you are a literal nobody in the grand scheme of things. You're an orbiter that gets a lot of crap because of your orbiting status. A lot of your points aimed at Ethan Klein don't resonate so well, and I'll back that. You see, you yourself have made a few comments, and we have some clips also to show. I'm going to show a clip from somebody who does not believe this is going to go very far, and then I'm going to show other clips, including Ethan inviting you on his show.
Are you guys f***ing with me? There's no way they actually have a GoFundMe, right? Wait. I don't know the context here, but in order to sue somebody for defamation, you have to prove that they harmed you or your business or your income. Apparently, from what I just read, she's doing better than ever since this happened. So how do you sue for defamation? How are you going to prove loss of income or loss of business from that?
I'm so glad that he pulled that up because I was going to anyway. The thing with what this area of the internet inhabits does is that many people actually benefit hugely from this massive line in the sand. Hugely benefit. And Denims is a streamer, not a YouTuber. This can be proven as true because she only has 7,500 subscribers on her YouTube channel. She is a clip channel at best. That's what she is, so most of her income comes from streaming. And because of orbiting the likes of her son and being involved in the H3H3 content cop, she's actually benefited from it. So how does she prove defamation beyond just statements made? Because a lot of the arguments in the IMGA, the legal documents, stated reputational harm and loss of bleh. Her reputation's been in the mud for years anyway. I've made videos on how much of a trash human being Denims is. Now, if you criticize Denims on this, if you have any points against her, if you're male, Denims has something for you.
And to all the people that are trying to explain to me, which I like, oh my god, the misogyny is crazy. It's crazy. I like I said already, I prefer being underestimated. All right, I prefer it. So I don't care. It's fine.
Fun fact. Most people would rather be underestimated than to have an ego so big that they overestimate their own intelligence. When somebody tries to be as bitch-made as possible by acting smarter than they really are, they show their hand and just how empty their brain is. It was often believed by many that we only use 10% of our brain. Actually, we only understand 10% of it. The former, however, is more likely when it comes to people like you.
But like, why are we all magically pretending that Ethan didn't literally just lose an anti-slap appeal against Kavanaugh? You guys can keep sweeping and deleting the posts that talk about Kavanaugh, but like, we all know.
I didn't pay any attention to the Ponzi scheme accusation. I call things Ponzi scheme all the time because they look like it. Hell, you orbiters are Ponzi schemes to me. Is that a defamation thing? Not really. I'm hardly harming your reputation. I know nothing of the case, but I would say that when it comes to you, you cannot compare yourself to this, because I'm not entirely sure you're going to be able to prove defamation. So does Ethan Klein have to actually respond? Or settle? No, but he can exhaust your legal options if he wants. He's got the money, you don't. We know this because you do a GoFundMe for it. Additionally, and this is quite important, your defense of misogyny. This part bothers me. It's a weak tea thought-terminating cliche solely done to pigeonhole people that criticize you because you can't be asked to take in criticism. And many people have something to say on this.
If you want funny things, I'll give you stuff to laugh about, dude. I've got a lot of jokes about you. And if that's the road you want to take, we can go down that road, man. We can go down that road. You don't want the smoke, man. You don't.
I do. I don't like people saying that they've got something and they can run with it, they can say something, they can do something, but then act like corporate America and not actually do it.
I mean, you seem to think insulting people is really funny. I'm sure you'll find the same. I'm sure you would find it just as funny if, people did it to you too, right? I don't know.
Instead of saying you're going to do something, just do it instead. Do I think you have anything on him, or that this will go somewhere? Not really. I'm not convinced. He may well have said something defamatory, but then I think the counter that many will point at is that you are associated with people that actively tried to justify it. That includes iDubbbz, for example. And you supported iDubbbz. iDubbbz tried to justify it in the content deputy by saying, well, maybe you shouldn't have done this, and this. Victim blaming, that's called, by the way. Someone that uses buzzwords like misogyny, you should be all too familiar with it, because you like to hide behind the shield of, but women. Your own chat, your own comment sections, on a regular, say many things that are quite defamatory in nature, and Ethan isn't going after them. He's holding you responsible and calling you out for not dealing with that. But then you believe something. You believe it enough that you're going to run with it, and there are many bad things in Ethan's closet. Ethan can't deny any of them. He really can't. But you can't justify your own chat and what you yourself have said, and excuse your chat, and excuse what you've said because, but women. So, defamation, even though we now know you have benefited from everything that has given you relevancy of late. Not on the YouTube space, though, let's face it. And according to the likes of people like Asmongold, being a Twitch streamer isn't that much of a thing anymore. It's harder to grow. You're better off going to other platforms, but then streamers like the Orbiters and Hassan, their numbers aren't going down a little. So there isn't much in the way of growth or prosperity unless you're a thought, or a bread tuber, or a grifter. Now, I have mentioned Ethan had put out a challenge. A call-in challenge to have a discussion with Denims.
And he's saying that you go, girl, after he talked about lawsuits are so dumb and silly and, pathetic. Make up your minds, sir. Once again, Denims, iDubbbz, Anissa, any of you guys want to call into the show at any time, I welcome you, please. I would love.
If you want to hash out a disagreement, the best place to do it would be on a show, publicly, so people can see it unfold. The reason why, and Denims is about to actually say why they won't do it, is because if they can just get a certain set of words together, like an apology, right, then they can run with that as a win to denigrate Ethan even further, rather than actually do it publicly where they can work it out, so people can see the full context. Yes, I'm spoiling things for you slightly, but let's face it, we all knew it was going this way. I may as well make it clear why.
For the purpose of litigation staying in a court, and considering the fact that you're not going to fold on any of these CPS talking points, I would love to call into the show to ask about whether or not he genuinely thinks that all of these people are attacking him first. That all of these people genuinely, they have an irrational hatred of him that's unfair, that he didn't shoot the first shot.
At time of recording, on the 12th of May 2025, Denims has not called in. There's no way Denims will, to be honest. And Denims is a throwaway, guest. They're the one you bring in just to have a 5-minute conversation and get rid of. They're not important enough, but they'll get some views. Hell, I think that, there'll be a big benefit to having all the Orbiters on the show individually. And someone did do a clip of Anissa, Frogan, Keemstar on a lolcow setting, and I think it was Denims. Was it Denims? Talking about stuff together, but with clips from different instances put together and Keemstar's reaction, right? And it was quite funny. I might show that in a minute. Denims, though, arguing here that litigation obviously inhibits, because that's the implication, that's the word, right, is one thing. But then to argue, but you fired first, so we should get the last shot, or we should be allowed to return fire. That's what this is so childish.
Because all of these people have given so much leeway. I mean, Hassan has been unbelievably generous. Ian and Anissa saw this and were like, we don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole until they continuously...
Not gonna lie, there will be a Hassan video at some point this week, because I've been bookmarking so many clips of him looking like he's crashing out pretty hard. I know the line in the sand is there when it comes to whether or not he won or lost the debate. To me, he lost. He lost conclusively. But others would disagree, and if I want to lose another 100 subs, I'll happily make the video, which I will. because it's funny. There's also going to be a Frogan video too. People going to bat and defending are the ones who are unable to take into account the differing perspective and the cultural difference. And there is one at play here when it comes to what they're arguing over, and then where they're willing to go, how low people are willing to go to make these arguments. This Lolsuit, and I say LOL suit, is exactly that. Will it go very far? I'm not entirely sure. But I'd love to know what everyone thinks about it, and of course, in the comments you should tell me. Because if you think Denims, they're all the same to me, has a point, tell me. If not, equally tell me. Drive up the engagement, guys. Yeah, that we need that. Anyway, hope you have a lovely day, guys, and thank you so much for listening.